We got some powerhouses on the yellow couch today.
As a single man, when I was thinking, I always would have thought I wanted somebody like me. The real blessing is in us being opposites. I'm the risk taker, but Ronnie keeps us safe. It's always benefited not just the family, but then also as we became business partners, the business.
Lamar and Ronnie Tyler is in the building. How y'all doing?
Just
good. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Black married kids was a blessing to us. We just want to start it to show positive examples of marriage in the black community. Had a lady after screening come out and say, that movie's good. How long y'all been married? At the time, we'd only been married for 2 years. She said, I've been divorced longer than y'all been married. And I was like, so did you like the movie or not? Tell me whatever you want to say and get on.
Why is finances so important as a family?
We can't make ends meet. It adds another layer of stress to us as a family. It's even more important because we playing so far behind.
Thank God he's not one of those guys to say, I don't want a woman with kids. Because it would have blocked his blessings.
I grew up in a single parent household. To me, if I project that on Ronnie, I'm projecting that on my mother. I know a lot of people may be intimidated by successful women, but my thing is, I'm gonna get mine. So you connect me with somebody that's gonna get theirs, we gonna be all right. Since she had kids, I loved how she was with her kids. I had assumptions about how I would be as a dad. Like when you actually get kids,
everything you thought goes out the window.
You be the perfect parent till you get a kid. Yeah. And then you really be the perfect parent till you get two.
When I had my son, I was still at school at Spelman. I didn't tell my parents I was pregnant until I was forced out of the dorm at Christmas break. I graduated with honors. Right. They watched my son while I was in school. Then I went to grad school on a full ride. It hasn't been easy, and people haven't been for our marriage the entire time. We've just been supporters of each other.
The thing that really kept us together was knowing that we just had to prove it to each other. The first leg of the journey was about supporting family through relationships. This next leg is about supporting family through economics, because we are people of excellence. We are people of greatness. And the biggest threat to the black community and black marriage.
The Dear Future Wifey podcast has global impact. From Texas,
I have been on this journey of healing and self-discovery, and this podcast has been a vital part of my process.
Guyana,
God's establishing through you a legacy, a display of freedom found in authentic spirituality.
California,
I've learned so much as a single man through your podcast and continue to learn so much as now a married man.
Nigeria,
this is just therapy for me. You know, I've been healed. I've been strengthened in my convictions. I've understood how to do singlehood better.
Amsterdam,
the way that you've shown us how it is possible for a man to be as intentional as you are.
New Jersey,
I appreciate your vulnerability. I appreciate just being able to see that there is life after divorce.
To New York.
I am a single woman, so these episodes really give me hope and courage that God does have a husband for me.
Discover, uncover, and recover love. I'm Latera Sar Whitfield, and this is season 10 of the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. I'm your host, Latera Sar Whitfield. Listen, are you still shacking up with us? If you're still shacking up with us, can we get a commitment? Hit that subscription button and subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified about upcoming episodes. Listen, man, season 10, we've been rocking. God has been curating some amazing guests on the podcast that have been dropping gems and wisdom. And I've been reading all the comments, the DMs, and I love that you guys are finding a lot of value in the content. And as y'all know, I start this year off saying I want to increase marriage rates in the black community and decrease divorce statistics while providing tools so that we can do relationships better in our community. And so I thank y'all for rocking with me. Well, today's guest, now we got some powerhouses on the yellow couch today. People pay to listen to this level of wisdom that they are going to drop for y'all for free. And I want y'all to pay attention to this episode, because when you get people like this on the yellow couch, I thank God for it, because they are able to give you wisdom and tools to amplify your life, not only spiritually, but financially as well. So without further ado, welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Lamar and Ronnie Tyler is in the building. How y'all doing?
Just
good. Thank you
for having us.
What y'all think about the introduction?
It was good.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
I was trying to record in my mind, because tonight we're going to be laying in bed. I'm going to be like, hold up. He said
we drop gems. We valuable. Listen, man, y'all some powerhouses. I was talking to my publicist, Candace, and she was telling me about y'all. And the more she kept talking about y'all, the more excited I began to become, just knowing that you guys are some powerhouses in this industry. So salute to y'all for all that y'all been able to do as a kingdom-minded couple.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this. I'm just going to jump off the top. Why is finances so important as a family?
I think finances are important because it's almost like in life we can follow our passion, we can follow our purpose, but even in business, talk about you had a third P, which is profit. So even on a personal level, if we're not in business, we can go after the passion, the purpose, all those things, but if we can't make ends meet, it adds another layer of stress to us as a couple, to us as a family, and to us as a legacy. Then we get into me and Ronnie, we've been trying to champion just a lot of things around the Black community, as you spoke about. It's even more important because we're playing so far behind.
Yes.
Right.
Go ahead, unpack that a little bit. You said we're playing so far behind. Break it down. Tell us.
Yeah, I mean, literally we're playing generations behind because of things, sometimes we didn't take part, or a lot of times in the beginning, we didn't take part in the things that happened to us. And we've been systematically excluded from activities that led to wealth, right? Home ownership, the big deal. They said, hey, we're going to give Americans access to home loans, but we weren't included in that. My grandfather was a World War II veteran. When veterans came back from World War II, white veterans were given a GI Bill, allowed to go to college. Black veterans were given vocational school, here's a barber license. If you get that and sitting back into communities where my grandfather went to the Army for this country, World War II veteran, lived in Alexandria, Virginia, but in Alexandria, Virginia, there were only certain jobs he could have anyway. So when people often talk about us as a community pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps, even when you look at that, when we do, then they get mad at us.
Yes.
I mean, how many times Ryan had our blog we started with years ago, Black and Married with Kids.
Yeah.
How many times did we have in the comments, what would they say, Ronnie?
Like, what if I had a blog called White and Married with Kids?
Yeah.
Exactly. Every blog is White and Married with Kids,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Every blog is that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and our mission was to increase marriage, to provide those positive images of marriage and improve marriage in the Black community. So improving our marriages improves America overall, right?
Yes.
However, they just had an issue with anything that we did intentionally for ourselves.
Yes.
And so I just feel like anytime we have to be intentional about helping ourselves if we're going to, fill in the gaps. So, yeah.
Let me ask y'all, I know there's always two sides to every story, but I'm going to start with Ronnie. How did y'all meet?
So get her side and then come to the real side.
Yeah, the real side, okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I'm going to start over there.
So he's going to get the truth, and then he's going to get a funny story. Okay, so that's how it's going to work, all right?
All right.
So the truth is we met through a mutual friend.
Okay.
Yes.
Referrals.
Yes, a referral. Like, referrals are great, right? But he was her coworker.
Okay.
And I grew up with her. And so she had a little get-together at her home, and we met that way. And this is a lesson for guys, right?
Okay, talk.
When he met me, I had a newborn baby on my lap because it was not his baby, okay? So thank God he's not one of those guys to say, I don't want a woman with kids.
I ain't gonna raise nobody else's kids.
Because it would have blocked his blessings.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
That's for sure. But so that first day that we met at her house, I was just in the room, and he was just in the room. He was kikiing with some other ladies playing spades or whatever. But I saw him, and he saw me. And
what does kikiing mean? Yeah. Let's get to the bottom.
You were kikiing, okay?
We were playing spades is a jovial game. Like
it's a jovial game.
Right, nobody plays spades. We do most of the time. Do be mad when I play spades, but not that night.
You're kikiing.
He was kikiing. Yes. Okay. And so he was across the room. He looked kind of young though. He's 4 years younger than me, but he looked young. And but yeah, I saw him. He saw me. I came up to visit her again a few months later, and we were at some nightclub. And
so then y'all didn't even have an exchange.
Just saw him across the room.
She was a lady in the room with a baby on her lap. So I'm thinking it's like the baby could look kind of newish. You know what I'm saying?
Brand new.
I'm just making the assumption that lady.
It wasn't a toddler. It was a baby.
I'm making the assumption that lady in the corner with the baby is taken, and I'm just going. It wasn't my fault.
No, I was free. Anyway, and so I came back a few months later. I went to the club with her. He was at the club with his friends. We danced, and he said, "Hey, I have a traveling job, and when I come to your area, I'm going to look you up." And I was like, "Okay."
You came like that, Lamar?
He did.
You said, when I come to your area, I'm going to look you up.
So he took my phone number, And he didn't call me for 2 months. I was like, he literally
Hold up.
said,
But when did I come to your area?
2 months later.
Exactly. Now, she had been asking God to have a man of his word. And then when she got a man of his word, she had a problem with it.
She said she was hoping there's going to be some conversation in them 2 months before.
Hey, they say they want a man at work. I'm out working hard every day. You want me to talk? Or you want me to work?
Lamar said you want to be on the phone kikiing with you for 2 months.
Right. I don't like the way we start this off. Let's put it back. Come on.
So anyway, and then we went out. He came to my area. We went on a date, and he was hooked. From there.
He was hooked.
Yeah, he was hooked from there. Now we started off. It was a long distance relationship, not too long. I lived in Tidewater area in Virginia, and he lived in the DC area.
Okay.
And so he was about 2.5 hour
drive.
Drive to see me. But he was busting down there about every weekend.
Oh, really?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yeah. So
every
that's
weekend.
how we met.
So how old were y'all during that time?
I was in my late 20s, and I was in my late 20s. I was almost 30.
He was like 25.
I was probably 29 because when we got married, I was 30 and you were 28, right? Yeah. No. We're 4 years apart.
Not 4 years.
No.
Go ahead.
You fudging that math.
All right.
You fudging that
I'm sorry. He was 28. I was 32. So I was about 30 when we met.
Okay. So y'all dated for 2 years.
We dated for 2 years because he proposed after 11 months. He proposed after 11 months.
All right. I want you to tell your story, and I want you to tell me why you proposed in 11 months. What would maybe considered soon?
Yeah, as she mentioned, it was close enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But one of the main things is, like she said, when I came down to Norfolk, which was kind of in the area, we went out to dinner, and I remember calling our mutual friend, and I was like, yo, like, she's dope, she's amazing, she's smart, she's intelligent, but she lived 2.5 hours away.
2.5.
And that was the thing, because Ronnie said, well, Worley wasn't that far. But to me, that was like an eternity of a drive back then. Mm-hmm. Because if I can be honest, at the time, when I was from the DC area, I was traveling to that point. But like when I wasn't working traveling jobs, I worked contracts. From where I lived at in Prince George's County, it would take me an hour and a half to and from work every day just to like DC area traffic.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
So pretty much, if I met a young lady in the DC area that lived 45 minutes or more away, I'd be like,
we ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, I honor you, I bless you, but we're not gonna be able to go out.
So this is a long distance relationship.
Yeah, because in my mind, I was like, like the daily commute is too much. I can't commute to see somebody I want to see and spend time with. But people would always say, well, Lamar, how do you know, when you meet the one? And I knew because the guy that wouldn't drive 45 minutes at home is now driving 2.5 hours on a weekend, at least every 2 weeks, to see her, to spend time with her. And it just changed my life. And then one of the other things, we always say, I feel like that time also made our relationship stronger because we talk so much on the phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we were like close together, we just would have been sitting on the couch, watching TV, at the movies, not really engaging, but we talked so much during that talk time. We talked so much about what our goals were, what our dreams were. We learned so much about each other. And it didn't make it perfect, but I feel like it moved us further down the field than otherwise. It might have been if we had just been, 5 years apart and just neighbors in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, because it was like a whole month or two between our first date and our second date. So, So all of that time was talking
on the phone.
Yeah.
So 11 months. What made you decide? What was it about her that made you know that she was the one?
What it was a few things. Number one, since she had kids, I loved how she was with her kids. And I wanted kids. She was open to having more. So we talked about, and all them phone call comments, we talked about everything. So we'd already talked about that she was open to having more.
How many kids did she have at the time?
She had two.
She had two,
and since then we had 2 more. So we got 4 total.
Good.
But in that, I loved how she was as a mother. I loved how she was as a nurturer. Those different things. But then I also, just in life, I was a go-getter. And she was a go-getter too. She was driven. I could see she was serious about her career, serious about success. And I know a lot of people may be intimidated by successful women, but my thing is, I'm gonna get mine. So you connect me with somebody that's gonna get theirs, we gonna be all right.
We winning together.
Exactly, right? And to me, that was attractive. Like, I really loved that about her. And it was those things together. And then just because of the distance, at a certain point, I was like, she's the one. So why belabor this? Why drag it out? I'm serious about her. I feel like she's serious about me. So let's just take the next step and, bring these two individuals together and then start this journey together.
So as a man, you was never intimidated by a woman's success. You wasn't looking at somebody like, oh, was she so successful? Because y'all both were in successful careers prior to y'all building this empire together, correct?
Correct, yes.
And so you saw her and you said, this is what I needed in my life. Not competition, but this is somebody that I see as building not just community together, but as well as this is your teammate that y'all could build something together with.
Yeah, and that's good. And it wasn't, the funny thing is, I wasn't necessarily looking for that. I wasn't like when I'm dating people like, yo, we're gonna
be a power couple.
What's your 3 year? You got SMART goals. That wasn't what I was doing. But she was putting in my life, and I was like. This is it, right? And and what it was is I could see the vision of us together. Now I had no idea it would turn into
absolutely
what it has turned into. I'm just thinking like, hey, me, her, the kids, the family. We'll have a nice house. We'll be have a nice life together. But I never could have imagined that us together as a couple in our marriage will end up impacting so many other couples and singles.
I like what Ronnie said about you would have missed out had you had any bias about her having a young child. Why didn't you look at her as what you hear in these stupid social media streets? They want to demonize a woman that has kids prior to marriage or prior to meeting them. Why did you not look at that as a deficit?
What's funny, probably the primary reason was because I grew up in a single parent household. Which is wild because most of the people saying the same thing grew up in a single parent. I'm like, you're talking about your mama. You know what I mean? Like you're literally talking about your mama was that woman you wouldn't date. So, I grew up in a single parent household. So I feel like to me, if I project that on Ronnie, I'm projecting that on my mother. So my mother don't deserve love. My mother wouldn't deserve, somebody to live life, wouldn't be happy, wouldn't take care, like all these different things. So that didn't bother me at all. Probably the biggest thing was, like I said, I don't want children as well. So it just was like, hey, are you open to having more children?
Right. Yeah.
What she was. But again, like one of the benefits was I could already see how she was as a mother.
That part.
And I think, otherwise it would have been like a lot of, we wouldn't even known ourselves because I had assumptions about how I would be as a dad, but I had like when you actually get kids.
Everything you thought goes out the window.
You be the perfect parent till you get a kid. And then you really be the perfect parent till you get two, because you might luck up with one good one. You get somebody like, oh, my kid is perfect. I'm like, you got one. You go. Because you got when you get multiples, it gets real quick. real fast.
Roddy, did you ever listen to negative, like did you ever hear negative voices saying that, girl, you got two kids, ain't no man gonna want you?
I heard that, and I heard people say, oh, just look at me like they felt sorry for me, or, girl, I'm proud of you. You doing it. I'm like, I don't need you to be proud of me.
That actually sounds like you too. Yes, that's her. You're like, I want you to be honest. Yeah, that actually sounds. That is Ronnie. That is core Ronnie.
I really said that. Somebody met me one time and she's like, oh, through a friend, and she was like, your friend was telling me all about you. I'm so proud of you. I'm like, why are you proud of me? I just never thought of that. Right?
He said, what were y'all discussing about me?
Right. So I just never thought of it. I just know that I was a go-getter. I always accomplished my goals. I had goals, and I've always been exceptional. Now, have I always made the right choices? No, but I learned from my mistakes, and then I kind of keep on going. So I always felt like I was going to be all right. I had a good family behind me, and I wouldn't be here today without my family, because that is important. And so, it just never dawned on me, really.
Let me ask you this. You said here today. What does here today mean to you?
I wouldn't be with Lamar. I just wouldn't be here today financially, just any of it. My mom and my dad have just supported me in so many ways. My parents, my father was a pastor. He is a pastor, not was a pastor. He is a pastor. And, They just supported me. And when I had my son, I was still at school at Spelman, and I did not tell my parents. I didn't tell my mom. I was walking around hiding that baby. I didn't tell my parents I was pregnant until I was forced out of the dorm at Christmas break because you had to get out. I wasn't going to prenatal visits. I wasn't doing anything.
You didn't do all that?
No, I didn't do anything.
You just hid from you.
I just hid the pregnancy, and so up in the dorm, pregnant with big shirts on, and so I go home on Christmas break. I spend the entire Christmas break, didn't say a word till the day before you had to come back from Christmas break. And my dad was like, during Christmas break, my dad was like, Ronnie, he was making a joke. You look a little chubby. I went off on my dad. How dare you tell a woman she looks fat? How could you do that? Like
she 8 months pregnant.
I was so ridiculous. I was so ridiculous. I don't know how my parents put up with me, but anyway.
How dare you?
And then I told them that I was pregnant almost like the day before we had to come back from break. And, they were disappointed, and then they just jumped into action. And so by the time I got to Spelman, I had doctor's appointments and, all the things. And my mom was like, okay, you shouldn't do this, and this. But it was never a thought, you have to quit school or you have to do this, you have to do that. It was never a thought. And
so what do they do in that situation? They kick you out the dorm, but so you have to get housing outside of the...
I don't know I don't know what the policy was. I was a good student. I was close to one of our deans. I finally went and told her. They never kicked me out of the dorm. Okay. And I don't know if it's a policy whether you can stay in or not. So don't quote me for Spelman.
They're going to be like on Dear Wifey podcast episode, Ronnie Tyler said.
I don't remember what she said. She might have said stay until they kick you out or something like that. She could have said that. I don't know. My memory, whatever. But I never got kicked out of the dorm. I had my son 1 week after school closed. My junior year. I had all A's. I just stayed in there. I studied or whatever. I had them 1 week after school closed. And my mom and my dad just helped me raise my son. They took my baby. I came back to Spelman my senior year. I graduated early. I graduated with honors. Right. They watched my son while I was in school. And then I came back. Then I went to grad school on a full ride. And so you
still went to grad school after you had...
In engineering. I graduated early with a degree in math, and I got me a master's in electrical engineering. I went straight to engineering school. I didn't have an undergrad in engineering. I went straight to grad school, and I took some undergrad school and some graduate classes at the same time and got my master's in engineering on a full ride. And so I think people like to look down on people because they may make some mistakes or make some decisions, but that doesn't define them, who they are. And so I never stopped. I just kept on with my goals. And
so why were you like that? Why were you so motivated?
I think it was just my parents. My father always worked hard. He always worked 2 jobs, for our family. My mom always worked hard. They just were like hard workers, and they did everything for us. And it just was never like another thought.
But I'm talking about to even go it's like, you made it through your undergraduate. You did great. You a quote unquote baby mama with a degree. Now you're going to go to graduate school and get another degree. Right. It's like, what would have motivated you to do that and not say, well, I got to stay here. I guess I might as well just lower my ambition and be this mother and take care of my kids instead of putting that responsibility on my parents.
I think literally it's my parents, right? Because my mom was like, you're not stopping. I'm watching that kid. My mom sacrificed.
That's good.
If I had my son when I was 20, so my mom had to be in her 40s. She's not 30 years older than me, right? So she had to be in her 40s. So I'm her youngest. So what was she doing? Now she had to get up before work and take my son to daycare and watch my son, like all of that. And so, but it never dawned on her that she never said out of her mouth, I'm not watching your child. Yep. You're leaving Spelman. You're coming here. Yep. No, she was like, you're getting your butt back to that school. You're finishing or whatever. So it was my parents.
Man, give
it was
her
my
a round of applause. Yeah. That is beautiful. Yeah. That is absolutely beautiful. And so when y'all got married, y'all were both in thriving careers. What made y'all decide to walk away from high-paying jobs to do your first business venture? And what was that business venture?
Yeah, the very first one was a blog we started called blackandmarriedwithkids.com.
Why you feel like you had to leave your job for that?
Because you know what? It was starting to grow, and it wasn't like immediate. We didn't have venture capital or somebody funded us. We funded that thing through our paychecks.
Yeah.
But as it grew, from the very beginning when we started, one thing we said is we're going to treat it like it's a business. And in those days, it wasn't like people online and content creators. I'm talking about 2007. It's like I heard one time on 60 Minutes, it's a guy in California that might have made money. So we know what was happening. It is not, for the younger people watching.
Yeah, teach.
It is not like it was. Like, I'm talking about that MySpace. They like, my what? MySpace era. Yeah. Like, it's a different
Black
beast.
Planet.
Right. So as we went, and started that, we said, hey, you know what, whatever, I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but we're gonna treat it like a business. And we did. And from, December 2007, 2008, 2009, it started gaining traction. And I remember towards the end of 2009, I told Ronnie that, hey, in this next upcoming year, 2010, we probably had to make a decision because now the business is starting to compete with the job, right? And, as we were growing, like Ronnie and I, one thing we didn't mention, we totally separate types of people. Right. So Ronnie, when she left graduate school at Penn State, she went to work for IBM. Ronnie had one job for 17 years.
Oh, for 17 years?
I was like, what you waiting for, like a gold watch and like a little pocket watch? Put on your green, put on your green jacket and like a monocle. Like, what are you waiting on, right?
I was.
Like, and me, I worked IT, but I only did contracts because I would get bored like sitting in place. So I don't do 3 6-month contracts. And if somebody's like, hey, we want to hire you, I want to be like, nah, I'm good. Thank you. It's been real. So when I meet her, I worked at probably like 30 different companies and she's worked at one. And she's like, well, like, what happened if you don't get another contract? And I'm like, it's always contracts.
Yeah, I made him get a job, like a job.
Yeah, right. She's like, well, you ain't got no job. I got plethora of jobs, right? I'm like, if a contract don't come in my rate, I just take one for a lower amount. Yeah, and I take a short one for 3 months, and then I'm back in the market. But I'm renegotiating my salary every 3-6 months. Yeah. I had a whole strategy. What if nobody pick me up? I got money on the side. I sit down for a month, then I'm back at it. She's like, nah, I need you to work, right? So we were totally separate. But even one of the things we like to share with couples around that is that Ronnie was not the entrepreneur. It wasn't like two people trying to build a business, making it happen. No. Like, I always knew I wanted to be a full-time entrepreneur. I just didn't know how to do it. Yeah. I didn't have examples around me. Yeah. And it wasn't like now where you just go, watch a YouTube, follow somebody on Instagram, show up to an event. That was not the atmosphere. So I had Black Enterprise, that was it, but I couldn't really figure out the things. I was trying these different things. Ronnie, she was like, she's gonna work at IBM, but she was like 91, 92. I don't know, right? So when we meet, even that was like a thing we had to communicate and go back and forth on. And I said, all right, you know what? I'll just get like a straight, W-2. Yeah. I'm gonna sit in it. The first one I did, it might have lasted like a month, maybe.
Not a month.
Yeah, I was in
there.
You
had a job for 1 month.
I was in there bored to death. I was overqualified. I'll never forget the supervisor one day was like, he was like, what is your plan? What's your goal? Like, what you want to do? I was like, it's nothing. Like, it was no career path. I was like, it's nothing here for me to do. Only thing I can do is your job. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only career path I got is like your position, right? It's like nothing here to do. So I left. But then I ended up taking a contract with a TV station in D.C., running the IT department, which is a temporary contract, and I came in and crushed it. And then they wanted to hire me full time. And then it was enough transition and movement in the newsroom every day it felt different, even though it was one spot. So I've been working there, back to the story, like 2009, going into 2010, I've been working there coming up on 5 years. And when we first got married, we were talking about where we would live, because Ronnie lived in Virginia, 2.5 hours away. I lived in the DC area. I'd always wanted to move to the South. Ronnie had just moved back from Atlanta, up to Virginia. So she said, maybe about 5 years from now. Well, look at God. The business is growing. In 2010 is what? 5 years after we got married. Yeah. So I came back and said, remember that time you said this? But I'm telling her, like, hey, like, the business is starting to compete. And I've only worked in a couple years, so that's only got 2 weeks of vacation every year. Ronnie been working with IBM, so she got like 4 or 5 months saved up and accrued. So now, like, we're getting
4 or 5 months.
Brands are saying,
was
like,
it really?
It was like 4 weeks.
I was like,
it felt like 4 or 5, but to the person with 2 weeks, 4 weeks feel like a lifetime. So, brands are telling us to come out. People are saying, come do this. They want us to come to events. They want to
had
honor
brands
us.
reaching out at that time?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we were like the original influencers.
We were in that
now,
first stage of influencers, yeah.
Be brand ambassadors. And
brand ambassadors. Like Disney would bring us down. Anybody, that website we had, the website had Black American Kids. We grew it from like just us and doing stuff to then we had like 100,000 people on Facebook, then 500,000 people on Facebook. Then we were doing up to at one point over 300,000 readers, organic, individual, unique readers per month. So you're doing about 1 million readers per quarter. So if you wanted to reach Black families,
you go to y'all.
You had to come through us because we had the Black families, and more specifically, we had Black moms.
Yep.
Because there was a lot of mom bloggers, but they didn't have like size and reach in the Black community, and we did. So it just was like getting to a friction point. And one of the things is, I was good at my job. Not even I was excellent at my job. And one of the things I always say is that A players are always A players no matter what they do.
No matter what they do.
And I was like, I can't, like, I hate it when people talk about, I ain't really doing my work. I'm doing this, that. But when I grow a business, all of a sudden, I'm going to be the man or the woman. Now, if you're a C player at work, you're probably going to be a C player in your business too.
Absolutely.
Or whatever you do in life.
Yep.
So as that was growing, I was saying like, hey, like I'm going to have to make a decision one way or the other. And, because what I don't want to do is be, skimping out on the job and doing all these things, and then I'm failing there.
Yep.
And I don't want to, fail in the business. So by that time, 5 years in, I felt like, and you can, tell me wrong, I felt like Ronnie then had begun to trust me. And we developed a level of trust. Would you say?
Yeah. I mean,
I ain't sound too confident. I'm kind of like,
I always trusted
Can I say something to you real quick?
Yeah.
From the heart. I'm proud of you. You did good, Black girl.
Who are you to tell me that?
Who are you to tell me what I don't need you to tell me.
But I felt like 5 years, I felt like because she always don't want to be an entrepreneur. I felt like
Did you? Because are you so settled in what you hear a lot of women talk about security, and like entrepreneurship doesn't feel secure?
It doesn't feel secure now. It drives me crazy.
Still?
Still.
And you've been doing this how many years?
I left my job in 2013.
Yeah.
He left his in 2010.
So 12 years, you still don't feel secure?
No, it feels like a gambling. It does to me anyway. So it just does. But and I don't know if I'm ever going to. It may be my personality type.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I did trust it. I was able to see it, and I think a lot of times when people want to convince their spouse about whatever goal they have, or about leaving their jobs or investing in something, I think first of all they need to show that they're accountable and that they're trustworthy and that they're dependable. And so Lamar showed me that, and so I wasn't worried. I knew that he wasn't the type of man that was going to let us go hungry, regardless of what he did. Right? He always excelled. He was an A player at work, so we're going to be all right. Right? So that's the first thing. I think a lot of times people are having problems with their spouse because they're not showing up. They're not being accountable. They're not doing what they say they're going to do on any level at home personally. So how could they trust you to do that for a business?
That part.
And so you have to make sure that you're accountable and you're trustworthy. But he was. And so I could see that the business was growing. We were getting contracts. We were probably making, almost 6 figures in the business outside of our jobs anyway. Now, that wasn't coming to us because we had to reinvest that back into our editors and our writers and all of those things. But we were, through sponsorships. But the deals were coming. But again, we were influencers, so we were being flown out here and flown out there and to cover this and cover that.
Did you at least like that though? Were you like, this is exciting?
I enjoyed it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And
Ronnie don't want to be an entrepreneur, but she liked the entrepreneur life.
I like the perks.
She likes the trappings of entrepreneurship. Let's be clear, because whenever as we would go on and Ronnie would be like, I just don't, feel good, and it could be like our most profitable year ever. It's just like the way Ronnie's wife. She's like, I just don't feel good about this. I don't like. What if it all go away next year? And I'd be like, you know what, babe? I support you. Like, if you want to go back to work, it is no shame. She's like, hold up now. I just need a minute.
He calls my bluff every time.
Yeah, I'm like, I support you. You get back in the workplace.
I just need a quiet minute.
She's like, hold up now. Hold up. Wait a minute. It's like, I just need a minute.
Yes. I'm not going back. I'm not going back. Yes.
She said, I'm not going back. She's like, I need a quiet minute. And so, how has this lifestyle helped y'all in y'all's marriage? Because here it is, y'all are doing something exciting together. You realize that with Lamar, he's like, I'm not the 9-to-5er type. I can't function like that. I'm brilliant. I'm good at what I do, but this is limiting the gifts that God has given me. And then for you, you're more structured. You're more like, hey, this is what I am. I'm very loyal to this job. I'm going to excel in it. I'm gonna retire from this job. How has going into this world, on this wall it says the biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams. And that's an Oprah quote. And so how did y'all conversion your personalities, conversion your skill sets and talents, how has that given y'all an exciting marriage?
Right. I think that if couples are able to leverage each other's strengths, you just have like an exponential superpower. Like it's just exponential, right? Because couples coming together just have that advantage. Now, if y'all are not good together, you have an exponential disadvantage. Exponential disadvantage.
It goes all the way to the opposite extreme.
Yes, it's all the way the opposite way. It's on both extremes, right? But like when you can work together, there's nothing that you can that you can't accomplish, right? And so it's been very, very good. We have just been able to leverage the fact that I love to plan, I love to organize or whatever, so that I can do the operations for the business, and we've been able to leverage that he's a visionary, that he has goals and passion, and that passion for the Black community to build the businesses that we've built. And he's a risk taker. I'm not. I'm able to like rein him in so that he doesn't risk it all. Yep. Right.
That's me. That's why I said my future wifey has to have that, because me, I'm like, hey, I'm a visionary. I'm open. I'm optimistic. I'll be like, hey, guess what? Well, we just lost the whole farm.
Right.
But we're gonna get it back tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. And you can see it in our fidelity accounts, because like I'm like just safe, and then his is like just extreme. And we may put the same amount in. His always has more money in it, like always, like 401k, fidelity, all of that. And even now with all the markets and the tariffs, I'm like pulling back. He's like double down, telling our financial advisor, double down. It's time to buy. It's time to buy. So I think we balance each other out, like just very good, like, right.
But if I could say something to that, like, is that piece because one, the Black American Kids was a blessing to us.
Yes.
And when we started it, we said, hey, we want to just, again, it wasn't really like the business model this. We said, hey, we just want to start it to show positive examples of marriage in the Black community.
Good.
At the time, we'd only been married for 2 years. So I had a lady one time, we started doing documentary films and ebooks, audiobooks, all this stuff. Had a lady after screening come out and say, that movie's good. How long y'all been married? And I told her, like, that probably made 3 years. She said, I've been divorced longer than y'all been married.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so did you like the movie or not? Like, tell me whatever you want to say and get on. But like, I always tell, like by having so many conversations, like that's the importance of mediums like this.
Yes.
We were surrounded by conversations about marriage every day.
Yes.
And there were, the benefit of it was so many different perspectives. Like, this thing about this show, right? Yeah. It's like so many different perspectives we could take in from couples that had already been where we wanted to go. Yeah. And couples that already faced the stuff that we were facing and the things that were coming up, so that when things happen, we had like all these different reference points and influences. And we know that, hey, you know what? Other people already went through it and they made it.
Yeah.
So if they made it, we can too. And then my one other thing Ronnie hit on is us being different.
Yeah.
Because as a single man, when I was thinking, I always would have thought I wanted somebody like me. If you would have asked me like, hey, what kind of woman you looking for? I'd have been like, hey, give me an entrepreneur and we're going to build this entrepreneurial thing together and all this stuff. But Ronnie said, like, the real blessing is in us being opposites, because I'm the risk taker, but Ronnie keeps us safe. Because when I'm like, hey, let's just like mortgage the house, it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Yeah. Like, everything changes after this. She pulled me back and hold my feet to the ground. But at the same time, Ronnie always say, you stretch us way more than I would on my own.
That's good.
And we do things like we wouldn't, so that coming together as a couple, keeping our family safe and growing in the right way, but not, putting too far risk or staying too safe, has always benefited not just the family, but then also as we became business partners, the business.
So what's so good about it is that y'all truly model where the Bible says submit ye one to another.
Yes.
And so that's so important because we always hear it one-sided where, you know, we weaponize that scripture with women saying, y'all, you need to submit to a man. But when you can acquiesce to the wisdom of your wife and the skill sets that she have and say, listen, all right here, I may not need to bet the farm, you know, keep me over here. And then she's wise enough to say, hey, I recognize in our fidelity accounts, you have more money because you're more of a risk taker. I like that. But also we're going to have a little nest egg over here in case everything falls apart. We got this. And I got you. I'm holding this foundation like that. So I love how y'all are able to do that. Was that an easy balance to create? Or were y'all fighting like crazy the first couple of years?
I say no for me, because even, you know, two different sides, the relationship and the business side. On the business side, because I'm the one that's always been trying entrepreneurship. So I'm thinking, like a lot of people watching probably think, oh, you just don't understand this.
Yeah.
Because you're not an entrepreneur, right? So I'm like, you just don't understand. Like, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
And it was years in where I realized the real benefit of what she brought to the business.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, as a visionary, I'm thinking, hey, in order to do this thing, it's 3 steps. Bop, 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 let's go. And then she would show me, well, inside of each step is 7 smaller steps.
That's good.
And I would say, well, we're going to do all these things this year. And then at the end of the year, we won't get them all done.
Yep.
So what I did is as we lean into it more each other, and in 2 parts, as we learn ourselves better and we learn each other better, then I start to sit in the annual meetings and I say, hey, Ronnie, I want to do these things. And when she say, that's not too much, I totally respect it. Because I realize that her gift is the planning part. Her gift is the systems. So what I can do is I'm the idea guy, but she know what it's going to take to execute the idea I come up with.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's making me emotional right now. That's when people get it, man. It's like truly getting the wisdom that the other person brings, because it's so easy. And I remember in times in my life where I felt like what may be realistic that the woman may bring, I look at like, you trying to kill my dream. Like, you really, why are you being so negative?
A lot of men think
like that, instead of saying, okay, let me listen. And it's also wisdom for the woman not to just kill it, but add value. Say, okay, listen, I know you want to do this. Right. Maybe we can wait to do that next year because we're going to need to do this in order to get there. And be able to hear the dream, not just kill it with no understanding where you're like, no, that ain't going to happen. You like, it ain't going to happen. What you mean it ain't going to happen? Yeah. And they're not giving you tangible things and skills to help you achieve it, or say, okay, maybe that's year 5, whatever it is, instead of just killing it. When you say that happens a lot of times, how often have you heard that?
So we hear it a lot. I mean, we hear it a lot, but again, I just go back to, it's not about the lip service. If you are having difficulties, getting your wife or your spouse on board, just show them results. Sometimes you need to even stop talking and just start executing and start showing results. Come and start presenting something, and not just ideas, but results. Maybe I'm building or whatever, and sometimes be patient or whatever. And so I think that was Lamar. I think he knew he was always going to do whatever, but he was kind of patient with me as well, because he's always been an entrepreneur. He worked a full-time job for 5 years because of me. For 5 years, because I don't think he would have had it otherwise, right?
Nah, I would have been out.
He would not have.
He working 30 days.
But since then, and it was important for me to feel safe and to feel like we had some stability. I already came into the relationship with kids, and I was just like, I always need to feel safe. I always need to feel like the bills are going to be paid. Now, on the one hand, I always feel like I'm holding him back. When you think about all the big billionaires, They risked it all. They were on the couch. They slept on people's couches and stuff like that. And I'm like, we're not sleeping on nobody's couch.
Yeah, I'm not on board with that. It's like I tell people all the time, I'm cheap, but I'm bougie. I'm both. So like two can exist.
He don't have that couch. He don't have that couch story because
I'm not going that hard.
Like just roll it all, Ronnie. But no. So I'm holding him back. I'm holding him back from his big break. But at the same time, I just can't. I'm not going to risk it all. But even that,
it's not holding me back from the break. because a lot of times I probably would have lost a lot. Because I am the one that would be like, hey, let me just put it all. Because like you said, I think a lot of entrepreneurs, especially entrepreneur men, have a gambler's mindset.
Yes, we do.
And that what you said earlier is my mindset.
Yeah.
If I lost it all, I can build it right back.
Tomorrow.
No.
Exactly.
Not with kids. Not with
Tomorrow,
kids. Not with my kids. No.
But you know, I love what Ronnie said, because a lot of times with couples, what we see is a few things, right? We see them frustrated because the spouse, in their words, what they say is not supporting my business.
Yep.
And I love that, you know, we have a couple come up to us after we spoke at an event, and they were, you know, a wife or husband might say, hey, you know, my spouse don't support me. I just want, you know, my spouse to come, you know, support me like y'all support each other. And we're like, for one, you ain't seeing what's happening behind the stage, because we was arguing just on the way up.
Yes.
Through the car, backstage, you know, then we held hands and like, lights, action, right? But
Hey, baby. How you doing?
right. But besides that, I love it because Ronnie would say, hey, you know what? Who's watching the kids right now? They were like, well, my spouse on watching the kids. Are you from here? Nah, you know, I flew in. She said, guess what? That's a form of support.
That's what I was about to say.
Right? And she would lean into that piece, like you having the space to think about the business, to work on the business while somebody else holds it down. That's support. Oftentimes we think support got to look like they on the stage beside me, they in the office next to my office and things like that. But so many times, like, we just not recognizing what support really is. And then what I often say is, when couples come and they're like, you know, why won't my husband, my wife support my dream? Because they know who you really are. Like Ronnie reminds me all the time. She'd be like, I might be doing something silly or crazy. She'd be like, if the people online could see you now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yo, chill, right? She's like, if they could see, look at them. If they could see their main man, Lamar Tyler, right now.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just out here living. I'm just trying to live life.
Yes.
I'm living my best life.
I'm going to expose him.
I'm gonna expose him.
But the thing is, we want our spouse to get on board all of a sudden, but we don't realize the 4 other things we asked them to get on board they did, we didn't come through and fulfill.
Teach.
We didn't realize, like, hey, we told them we was going to lose weight, so that's why we paying so much for the gym membership. We never go to the gym.
Yeah,
We was going to ride the Peloton bike, but now it just got clothes draped all on top of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we make all of these micro and macro commitments to our spouse, drop them every day, but then all of a sudden, the 28th or the 29th thing that we say is going to change everything, when a spouse is skeptical, then we mad at them. So what we tell people all the time, and they should probably know the largest and fastest growing class of entrepreneurs in the United States are black women.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, I'm talking to you sisters, right?
Yeah.
Sisters come and they'll say, well, Lamar and Ronnie, my husband won't get on board. Ronnie hit it early. I just want to draw it out. If you want to do to get on board, get to success fast. Because the thing is, once you get to success, then everybody want to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
All them people like, what you doing? That's crazy. Why would you start that? Why would you do that? And especially the dudes. Because dudes is wild. We wild. I can say I'm a dude. We wild, right? Because once things get popping, then the dude want a business card. All of a sudden, they the COO. They the head of business development. Like, what is you talking about?
You know, they gave us up the biggest title they could think of.
Yes. I see it all the time.
How did y'all go from the blog? Is that where y'all created Tyler Media?
Yeah, because we created, because we said, hey, we're going to start it like a real business. So we, you know, the business name was Tyler New Media. We started the blog Black and Married with Kids. That grew, and we went from husband and wife in the corner of their bedroom to now we got an office. Now we got employee. Now we got teams. Now we got 40 freelance writers. You know, and then we went from working with the brands and agencies. Like, we didn't control our money.
Yeah.
They controlled the money. Like, one month they in the African American, you know, women and children, we want to do. Next month they like, we want the Latinos.
Yeah.
So we said we got to create products. So we started doing documentary films. There's 7 full-length docs.
7?
Yeah, 7. We did ebooks, audio books. We learned how to market. Because we would sell direct to customer. Like, me and Ronnie, we older than we look, right? So this is the DVD era.
Yeah.
So we, you know, pressing up DVDs. We selling to our audience. Got a few 100,000 on Facebook. We got, you know, 200,000 on the email list. We're doing our own 10
Y'all
city
had
tours.
that many people back then?
Yes.
200,000. So who taught y'all how to market? It was just grassroots, word of mouth?
Nah, it was us stumbling through the darkness for years, and then we figured out that our greatest investment would be investing in ourselves. And we started figuring out we could go to conferences, we could go to retreats, we could hire coaches and consultants, and we tapped into people that knew more than we did.
That's good.
Now, the thing was, when I went to all of these things, again, this, you know, 2007, 8, 9, 10, wasn't none of the people looking like us.
No.
There were no black people in these events.
Yeah.
And I go into it and I'm meeting people that have 200, 300, 400 people on the email list and they making more money than us.
Yeah.
Because what we found out is that you can be popular or you can be profitable.
Teach.
And you can have all them followers and still be broke in your bank account.
Teach.
Yeah.
So we had to learn what they knew because we had way more audience. We're making way less money.
Yep.
And the crazy thing is we tried to get other people and take them with us. And they be like, who all gonna be there, right? They looking like, nah, that's not for me. So as we developed, Black Married Kids, it grew and it became larger. Then people kept asking us, can you show us how to do what you're doing? Like, can you show us how to build what you build? Because again, we're doing 10 city tours. We are renting out our own movie theaters. We are partnering with some of the mega churches, just bringing us in and they doing screenings for their marriage ministries and their singles ministries. Mm-hmm. So after a while of doing that, then we launched the brand that we run now, Traffic, Sales, and Profit, to teach people how to kind of grow and work businesses. And then in 2022, we actually exited and sold Black and Married with Kids to 2 of our clients, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
And 2 of y'all clients.
Yeah, and even that was different. I think that was a heartfelt moment for us. But I think we also realized that everything is not forever.
How long did y'all have it before y'all sold it?
2007 to 2022.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a run, but I think like everything has like seasons. Yeah.
Did y'all cry? Did y'all mourn it?
No, I didn't cry.
Oh, you cried.
Bittersweet.
We got video of you crying on stage. Let's go back. Let's go back.
I cried,
Let's run the tape back. I'm gonna send you the B-roll. Right, we're gonna lay this B-roll over there, right?
I didn't cry.
It was definitely emotional. It was.
And there was some conversations behind the scenes before we got to that point, because I feel like a lot of it was so much of our identity as a couple.
That's what I was about to say.
Too, you know what I mean? Like people,
year 2 of y'all married.
People knew us as the Black Married Kids couple, and for real, in a lot of ways, I didn't really feel we were legit in the site and everything, and we weren't the only voice on the site. Like one of the best things is we start allowing other people.
Yeah, other writers.
So we had somebody that had been remarried, somebody that was high school sweethearts. We started letting singles come. One of your previous guests, my guy Jamal Miller.
Yeah.
When Jamal, I think he might have started. He was single when he first started writing for us, I believe. Or him and Natasha just got married.
Yeah.
But we had all these different voices. But we were so early in our marriage. I'll never forget, like year 10 of our marriage, I felt like, well, we made it. Like, because people, they would always ask, like, how long y'all been married? And I'd be like, 3 years. And they're like, what? Like, say it with your chest, boy. Like 3 years. So, like,
Why do people, answer this, and that happens all the time. Why do people discredit people because they haven't been married that long and they have a platform that's speaking? It ain't like y'all saying we're know-it-alls. You're just saying that we're just trying to have conversations about it. They look like,
But I think what we learned and built in that site, and Ronnie, let me know if I'm wrong, is that everybody has a voice.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So the divorcee can tell us about some things they wish they hadn't have done and some things they wish they hadn't have gone down that we can't talk about because we haven't been there.
Facts.
Right? Like the person, we would have different surveys and stuff. So we got singles, but it's different types of singles.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you single and never been married, you're different than if you 54 single and been divorced once or twice. Yep. Like different conversations.
Or 54 and never been single, never been married.
Right, yeah. And even with us, like on the relationship side, one of the biggest challenges we ever faced was that of blending the family. We talked about Ronnie had 2 kids, I had 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
Most black families now, because of we have high divorce rate, high out of wedlock birth rate, like somebody already got a kid when we coming into it. But it really wasn't a prevalent conversation. Mm-hmm. And when we looked at the resources, most of the resources were from the framing of, hey, you know what? Either you got married and divorced, or you were married and you were a widow. But it was nothing from like our community perspective of ain't neither one of us ever been married. So we trying to figure out how to blend the family and how to be married at the same time.
And never seen a marriage because your parents might have not been married. You know what I'm saying? It's like all these different dynamics that shape it, but then you'll find people with limiting beliefs say, How you gonna tell me something? Well, if you've been married for 3 years, you can talk to somebody. You can talk to some newlyweds,
Exactly.
right. Or some people that's engaged. Because there's a lot of marriages or engagements that fall apart.
Yep.
So even if you make it to the altar and make it by year 1, there's some things you can tell somebody else that haven't even been married before, or the people that's engaged saying, I don't think we're gonna make it.
Right.
And it's people been married 50 years, got some messy 50-year-old marriages.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, just because you've been married a long time don't actually mean that your marriage is good.
You definitely can't
Absolutely.
speak into
it
my
could,
marriage.
It could be something right now on year 19 in a half, almost 3/4, right?
That's where y'all at right now?
Our 20th anniversary is in September.
Yes.
So I'm trying to work out. Maybe I can get you to help me after we finish. I'm trying to work out something that she won't let me do for the anniversary.
Okay.
But as we, get there, it could be somebody who's only been married a year, 24 months, that may have mastered something me and Ronnie just haven't gotten right yet. So anybody can pour into anybody.
Right.
What is y'all's acronym y'all have called COC?
Yeah, that's our couples code of conduct.
Yeah, y'all couples code of conduct. And how do y'all use that in y'all's relationships or marriage?
So our couples code of conduct guides our behavior in public. So you're never going to see me and Lamar acting out. Okay.
Yeah.
We have each other's back at all times, but it also provides standards for working together as a couple.
Yeah, 'cause that can be tough.
And so the first thing is you have to have respect. You don't want to be a business partner with somebody that you don't respect. And so you have to respect each other at all times, and especially in front of your employees and other people. So that respect is at all times. Like, they would never know if we were upset with each other. Keep that out of the workplace, right? We're going to respect each other at all times. And so that was the first thing. Another thing is the accountability and the trust. You can't be a business partners with a person that you don't trust.
Nah.
Would you go into business with a person you don't trust? No. But you're going to go into business with your spouse, they cheating, you don't trust them.
Yep.
Like, why are you going to go in business with them, right?
Yep.
And so you trust. And it's that also the accountability piece of do what you say you're going to do. It starts at home. It starts at home. And so with all those like micro commitments and all of the things that you say you're going to do at home, if you're not doing them there, it's going to spill over into the work environment and your business environment. So that's the accountability. And what was the last thing?
Oh, well, just even with that, like once we've, kind of started growing together as a couple, started growing together as a business, we realized that the same things that make for a great relationship are the same things that make for a great business partnership. Like, partnership is partnership. So when Ronnie talk about trust, she talk about respect, accountability. The other big thing is communication. You know what I mean? Like, can we communicate? Can we talk about things? It's so many things in our personal lives and professional lives that we have to be able to communicate and come to agreement on. Whether we actually are on board or not, we got to be cool with it moving forward. Because with our kids, right, it's things that we may not come eye to eye on, but like we need to make a decision and let that decision kind of move forward and make it happen. And the same thing in the business. So, when I think about our lives, whether black and married with kids, whether building a business together, it's like these things of us being together as a couple has benefited the business, but the business has also benefited the marriage.
Yes.
And again, like, we can just get couples to see that. Like Ryan talked about that couples code of conduct, like how we govern ourselves in front of people. It's interesting, again, just like personal and professional. When people see cracks in the foundation of your marriage, they will go for those cracks to break it up and bust it up. And when I'm talking about people, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be your own children.
Yep.
Especially in step family, blended family situations. The same thing goes for a business, right? If you expose those cracks in the foundations of what you built and who you are, right? You could have team, you could have outside people. All the time while we're growing something, and this is not me and Ryan, just in general, while we're growing something around love, everybody don't want to see you be loving. As you grow in a relationship and you want to be happy, everybody don't want to see you happy.
No.
So you have to realize that and almost like shield and protect. And that was probably one of the greatest things in the early years of our marriage that I loved about Ronnie. Any attacks against me, any attacks against our marriage as it relates to he might be exhibiting too much discipline with the kids, right? What's this entrepreneurship thing he's trying to do? Girl, he's trying to live off you. You know what I mean? He don't want to work. Yeah. Like all these things, the things that be crazy to me because they just outside the character. Like when people say stuff to you or about you, it's just outside the character of who you are, it creates like a rage inside of you.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
But what I used to always tell Ronnie is where a lot of people let other people get in their ear about things that's not true, Ronnie would shut it down.
So, Ronnie, how did you learn to do that?
How did I learn to shut it down?
Yeah, because when you look at, and of course you could say, I know the character of the man I married, but when people are saying something to you and you're saying he's trying to live off of you because you're the one working, he can't keep a job out of choice, and he'll work there and for 30 days, leave there, get a contract, sit on that contract, make money off of that, wait, I'm gonna take a month off. How did you not internalize that and let the naysayers affect y'all's marriage?
Right.
Because that's a high level of emotional intelligence in the age of 20 or 30. Y'all got married about 32. So for you to be as young as you are, thinking like that and having that self-awareness, that's to be applauded. And how did that not plant seeds in your mind?
Well, that sounds so good. Like, I'm so smart, but listen.
I'm proud of you. I just want to say you did good.
There you go again.
So now we won't be in bed. I'll be like, Ronnie, before we go to sleep, I just want to tell you I'm proud of you.
No. So anyway, don't be too proud of me. But
okay,
anyway,
don't be too proud.
Because I think I'm just wired that way. Because just like I don't listen to people about Lamar, I didn't listen to people when I was in a bad relationship too.
Okay. That's a good point, huh?
I mean, you're just a person that don't listen, okay? So there's that. I'm not I mean, for real, I was in it for a long time. It was not a good relationship, and they were telling me, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna stick by my man. So maybe I just stick by my man. So I'm just hard-headed. But just to let you know, like, I mean, but the whole time that I was in that, I knew though. The person that I wasn't listening to was me.
That part.
Right, because you know deep down inside when it's not right.
That's good.
And so now I know it's right, and he is genuinely a good person. And so, I'm going to stick by him. We have always just been like really close, and it hasn't been easy, and people haven't been for our marriage the entire time. But we've just been like supporters of each other. He's good to me. It's easy to get behind a man that's good to you.
That part.
It is. He's very good to me, so it's not hard. I've been behind a man that wasn't good to me, and that was crazy. So there.
When you say good to me, what does that mean?
Like, number one, he just cares about my feelings. And so even if I'm not right, at the end of the day, he cares like how I feel. I know he's going to take care of me. He's going to take care of my family, whether I need it or not. You know, I feel safe. I feel taken care of. And that's all I can ask for.
And who taught you that, Lamar? Who taught you to be emotionally available and care for the needs of a woman? Was it being growing up with a single mom, watching maybe her emotions being mismanaged by guys she dated, or saying, when I get married, I'm going to make sure that I do X, Y, Z?
Yeah, I think it was a culmination of just probably things I took in, right? Because my mother, I'm the youngest of three, right? Shout out to the youngest siblings, right? We rule the world.
Too.
We rule the world. But I could see the things that, family members did right, things that family members did wrong, right? It allows you, I think when you're young, it allows you to navigate through some things that other people kind of do and don't do, and you can work it. And then also my mother just pouring into me, and showing me my worth, and, training and teaching those different things like that. I had a father, I knew who my father was, but he just wasn't really engaged all the way, right? And I didn't see him, like once I got a certain age, I didn't see him as much all the time, as much as I probably should have. But, I always talk about the strong relationship I did see with my grandparents. You know what I mean? Like, and I always said, like, I want to be a man like my grandfather is.
That's good.
When my grandfather passed, I'll never forget, we were at the service, and, at the service, at the church, black church, it's going on for hours, right? But it's where there's so many people speaking so strongly about him and about the things he did for him and the ways he showed up. And it just showed me, I remember like sitting in that pew thinking, I probably was like, I think around this time I probably was like 21. I think I probably was like around 2021 when he passed. And I remember thinking, I want to be a man like he was a man. I want to live my life in a way so that when I'm done and when I'm gone, people say all the things they said about him, the way he showed up, the way he handled business, and not like business like a company, but just like, hey, it was like the chairman of the deacon board when they didn't have a pastor, like Deacon Adams did this, and this, right? He was the patriarch of our family. He loved us, right? Would as a child, like, would hug me. And like that generation ain't no hugging generation.
At all.
They was thugged out.
At all.
It's like you try to hug them, they like they like what, right? But he wasn't like, super overly affectionate. But I never even thought about it just now. Like even, as a young kid, he would give me hugs, come down, give me a couple dollars. Don't tell your brothers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Give me like little two singles, little Chris $2 bill or something. I thought I was balling.
Yeah.
But even as I was 18, 19, 20, when I came in their house, first thing I would do is give both of them hugs. But he was just like, was a stand-up man. So I think that's the importance of representation. That's the importance of us seeing and modeling like people that we can say, because everybody got enough people in their life they can say, I don't want to be like that person. But it got to be somebody that we can see to say, we want to be like them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I felt like, so I had to learn my lesson, right? So I wasn't listening through my 20s. So with my two oldest kids, I was with their father the entire time through my 20s, right? But we weren't in alignment. And I knew we weren't in alignment because of how I was raised and because of what I saw with my father. And because I know my father got up and worked every day. And so it was never, ever, it was something in my spirit that's like, this is not right. And so by the time the reason why he saw me, out with the baby is because when we went to have our second child, I was like, this isn't right. And so at that point, when I got pregnant with that second baby, that's when I left the relationship. So that with that baby, I was out, and that's when I met Lamar. And so when she was young, she just thought, okay, this is my dad or whatever. So that gave me the out, but it was just inside of me. I knew it wasn't right. I knew I wasn't in alignment, and so it feels different with Lamar. It felt different with Lamar, right? Because I think deep down, even if you are fighting for someone. That everybody's saying, oh, they're not doing this right or whatever. When you have to live with yourself, when you lay down at night, regardless of what you told everybody else, if this man is treating you right or if they're treating you wrong.
Absolutely.
Deep down, right? And another thing is we planned. And just people outside just didn't see what we were doing inside. When he left his job, people were saying to me, he's living off you. Your man ain't working. He's no good. But we had a plan for our business. And we knew he was going to leave his job. We knew he was going to focus on the business full time. We knew we were making that sacrifice. And they just didn't understand it. And sometimes people say things about your marriage, about what you're doing, because they don't understand. It's not because they're hating. It's because they're afraid for you. There may be some fear in there. Maybe they just don't see that vision for their life. And so you just got to keep it tight. And so let them speak, keep it tight. We have our goals. We're going to keep pushing forward.
Have those people ever came back and said, girl, I was worried about you for a minute, but y'all balling out of control now.
Yeah.
Get a little money in your pocket, everybody.
Yeah. Back then you didn't want me, now I'm hot, now y'all want me.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, what Ronnie's saying is so true. But one of the big things, especially in today's era, how social is now, you don't have to let everybody know about all your moves.
That part.
And I feel like the thing that really kept us together was knowing that we just had to prove it to each other. Like we had to prove, like, let whoever else think whatever else they gonna think, like we gonna show them.
Yeah.
And we weren't, and I think still to this day, people ask me all the time, they be like, well, I assume you got kids because you ran the site Black and Married with Kids, but I don't see your kids on your profile, right? Where they at in your profile? And I might say, because my kids ain't for you.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like I could share if I want to. If I don't want to, I don't have to. And I think we live in this society in the era now where we feel like we obligated to share everything.
No, we don't.
Me and Ronnie go on vacation and don't be picture up on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube of what that vacation was. And it feels good. Mm-hmm. All I got to do is make sure one person's straight. This one right here. Everything else will be all right.
How do y'all not get tired of each other, working with each other like that?
Who says we don't?
Yeah, I was tired of working with it just last week. Let me tell you that, because I was like, I need you to scoot over about 2 or 3 feet and let me do what I got to do.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's a good question. I think, I'm playing, but I'm serious, right? There definitely are times when we get tired of each other. But I for me, it's learning again, myself and Ronnie. And it's learning like what she needs, and she need to voice things and do things. But it even may be like, hey, she gonna vent and say this, but it's some things I still got to do for the business to move the business forward. And I know overall she'll be cool with it because one of the things we always talk about is that we feel like we have the best intentions for each other, our family, and the business.
Yeah.
And that's the real powerful thing. If two individuals can come together as a couple and work together, it's not like addition, it's exponential increase. Because we got the same goal. Where if I just picked up a regular partner, we can have a business goal, but our private goals may split at some time that impacts us. We got the same goal for our family, what we want to build, and now it's become not just our family, but extension of the community.
Y'all have a conference coming up in Alpharetta, Georgia. Who is that conference for? What would be the ideal people to say, I need to be here?
Yeah, that conference is for entrepreneurs or people that want to grow in entrepreneurship that are serious about growing, right?
Okay.
And I think what a lot of people need to realize, the security they thought they had is no longer there, right? During COVID, all of a sudden people had jobs, were not working. And everybody's like, I got to be an entrepreneur because I got to take control of my livelihood. Then everything opened back up and they forgot all about that. I was like, let me get back to this gig, right? The PPP money dried up. We weren't getting the free checks in the mail. So they were like, let me.
And those stimulus checks.
Right. Let me get back to it. But the thing is, even now, like we live in Atlanta, but I'm from the D.C. area. In the D.C. area, the most prestigious thing you could have is a government job. Like the goal is to get a government job. The goal was so much so that we didn't even call it a government job. In D.C. area, it's a word we put before government job. It's a
good government job.
Goodt.
Yeah.
A good government job.
Yep.
But what if I told you, if you look, the administration been cutting what?
Government
jobs. 20,000 people here, 10,000 people there.
Yep.
Department of Education, we trying to shut the whole thing down. FEMA, we want to shut it down. So
TSA, shut it down.
Right. A lot of things that we say we want to build and we say I want to grow this, I want to do this, we put it on the back burner. You can't wait too late. And every business, every industry has a life cycle, has a beginning and an end. And you can miss your window of opportunity.
Yep. Yeah.
So if they don't want to miss that window, 26th through 28th in Atlanta area, right? TSP Live, it's actually our 10th anniversary doing this conference. We started the brand in 2015. We do 2 conferences a year. It's our 20th straight conference. Every 6 months we do a conference. People say, Lamar and Ronnie, what's y'all superpower in business? We say no superpower, we just consistent. So we started, the first one was 47 people in the room. Half of them people got in free. Now we're doing 1,000 people per event. And when I say they come, it's 6-figure people, it's 7-figure, 8-figure business owners in the room. A lot of them direct clients we work with. But the beautiful thing I love is you can't tell who's who.
Really?
It's people that have humility. It's people that are serious about making money. And it's people serious about making impact for the Black community.
Right.
And that's how if I can say one more thing, babe.
Yeah.
One of our slogans for Traffic Sales and Profit with TSP is that we're the ones we've been waiting for. Like, ain't nobody coming to save us. Ain't nobody going to swoop in at the last second and say, hey, you know what? This is for y'all. We've been holding back and doing you wrong. And if you didn't believe me now, hopefully people believe me this year.
You better talk about it.
This year, what it is. But over the last few years, we've been collecting, we sell a replay, and all the money from replay goes towards Black-led nonprofits. Right now, we over $470,000 at that June event. We're going to break $500,000 that we've raised as a community and given to Black-led nonprofits like Young Doctors DC that help young Black boys look at the medical field as a profession. We had a program for entrepreneurs, youth entrepreneurs in Chicago, Great Mad Experience. We've donated several $100,000 to Black and Missing Foundation for when our loved ones, Black and Brown, go missing. They're the ones who answer the call because the police department
they don't
acting
care.
like, man, your people just ran away.
Yeah, they not care.
So that's like the impact. When we transitioned from Black American kids to Traffic Sales and Profit, for a while, we were like stumbling around a little bit, like we don't know what this is. And we sat down one day and said, you know what it is? It's just continuation of the work. The work has always been about family. The first leg of the journey was about supporting family through relationships. This next leg is about supporting family through economics. But all is about supporting families and helping close some of those gaps in the Black community, because we are people of excellence. We are people of greatness. And the biggest threat to the Black community and Black marriage is the way we've been conditioned to fight each other.
Can you say that one more time? Because I think people need to hear that.
Yeah, I can't tell you, right? They are trying to pit us against each other, right? Like, what's going to come to the top of your algorithm? Black men talking terribly about Black women, Black women talking terribly about Black men. And there used to be an article I would always read at our film screenings. We do like a little discussion at the end, and I would read an article from Essence Magazine. It would talk about how black men think that black women are gold diggers. All they want is money. They really not into me. They don't give me space for my emotions, all these things. They would say black, women think that black men are just opportunistic. All they want is sex. They want to use them. They womanizers. And I would ask the audience, what's the most surprising thing about that? And some people would say it's true. Somebody else would say that it's wrong, right? Somebody else would say that, black men do this. Somebody say black women do that. I say the most surprising thing about that article is that it was written in the 70s.
Still having the same conversations.
And we still have the same conversations today. We just took it from the barbershop and the beauty salon to social media, to TikTok, to YouTube, to these different platforms. And the craziest thing about it all, I spoke in London last year, and there was a young black man there. And he was asking me questions about relationships, questions about this and that. And the lens of every question he asked me about what black Americans did and black American relationships was through the lens of trap rappers. Was through the lens of, well, Cardi B said this, Meg Thee Stallion said this, right? Well, Lil Baby said this. And I'm just like, we just got to do better. God. We got to see value in each other. We got to see worth in each other. And it's just like, it's a propaganda machine going on inside of our community.
I say that a lot, and it's when I say it grieves my heart, it's like, I'll talk about this. People are grab. I've done over almost 300 episodes. It's about 4 episodes that I've done that there's a group of people that don't like. They like, why did you bring this? This is toxic love. This is this. And I'll be like, listen, I give everybody a platform. Learn. Either say, I don't want that, stay away from it. But don't criminalize me for giving people a voice to share their journey. Mm-hmm. This is their journey. This is how they overcame it. You may not agree that they should have stayed in it, but this is how they overcame it. And I say, do y'all realize the most viral videos I ever had was a wig falling off somebody's head, which is funny. People laugh. That got 1 billion views across the social media platforms. And then a video where you may demonize a couple who have been married 33 years, and the first 5 of their years they were married, and it was rocky. He was cheating. He told her prior to marriage, hey, listen, I'm not going to be faithful. This is what it is. She said, cool. They got married. She agreed to it. 5 years later, he ended up giving his life to Christ. He started changing his life. Never had infidelity. Never anything since then. And y'all mad at me because they shared their story about how they overcame. And I say, why don't y'all make why don't they make this episode go viral? Why won't they take gems from what you just said just now, make that go viral? I didn't share a reel from that episode, from that conversation that went super. I'm talking about that thing was the number 3 trending topic on TikTok a couple of weeks ago, middle of April. Trending topic. It was in the New York Post. It was everywhere. Even the way they put the headlines was inaccurate. They'll say stuff like, pastor cheats on his wife and this. He was 22 years old when that was going on. He wasn't even saved, let alone being a pastor. And it's like, you would grab that because they're sharing that story. And I said, I come against every spirit that takes the vulnerability of my guests on this podcast and weaponize their transparency against them. I said, I come against that spirit because the Dear Future Wifey podcast was curated from my own frailties, my own idiosyncrasies, me creating a platform saying, hey, I cheated on my wife when I was married. I've been divorced going on 10 years. This whole platform has been curated so that I can learn from people like y'all, from single people, from people that's been married 40 years, people that's been married 1 year, and sit as a student to extract these gems from people so that I can do marriage better. And in hopes we get blessed with the overflow, the audience, with the gems and the wisdom that is shared on this yellow couch. But don't take the content, black people, to take the content of something that you find negative and say, that's the Dear Future Wifey podcast mission and mandate. And that's what grieved me when you made a comment and you said, when somebody takes something about your character and lie on you, like that is the work. Because I say, I've done enough dirt in my life. Just regurgitate what I've said and I'll be okay. I'm like, yeah, I said that. But don't just go make up stuff now.
Right.
Like, just come on. And that's demonic. And so when I see that, it grieves me, not even on a personal level, but I look at things from a collective standpoint and say, why do we do this to each other? Like, it's not one white person that ever took a video from me and made it go viral talking about, see, this is how black people are. Not one time. It's in our own community. They'll take that and lie and say out of almost 300 interviews, that's less than 1%. You'll find something that you don't agree with and then say, this is the heartbeat of the platform. Somebody made a video that was 2.5 hours long, and they said, I believe that Latera's mission is to teach Christian women to accept abuse from Christian men. That is his platform. When I said, I come against that demonic spirit in the name of Jesus. Like, why in the world would you lie like that? And what reason why they hit so close to home is because my grandma and the aunt who named me Latera's was killed by an abusive relationship. So I'm one of those people that I'm 10 toes down, like leave anything that's abusive. Forget just even physical abuse, but emotional abuse. And so what just hit me, and then I just decided to take time to share this, is because you said that. You just said, like, what is this propaganda? Why is it that the black man is going against the black woman, the pink pill against the red pill community? Why is it even a pill to begin with? You know what I'm saying? Why are we taking these pills? You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's the new pharma. You know what I'm saying? Stop taking these pills. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's so crazy that we do that. And then you have black men against black women, and then our marriage rates decreasing. We're at 33%. They said in the next few years, we're going to be in the teens. And it's like, why are we falling for it every time? That's the modern day slavery, is that you have become a slave in your mind, and you're using this social media to have you enslaved to the rhetoric of our counterparts, teaching us how we're supposed to love each other or not love each other. That is my TED Talk. Thank you so much.
I always say the greatest thing the enemy can do is make us fight against each other.
Woo. Mm-hmm. So how do people sign up and come to this Traffic Sales and Profit Conference?
Yeah, once you come to TSP Live, you can go to the website, www.tsplivetickets.com. Again, June 26th through 28th. And because it's our 10th anniversary, we're closing with a black tie, black carpet gala.
Black carpet.
Yeah, our first one, right? We celebrating a decade of black excellence.
I like that.
And pouring into it. Like, we got 90% of the speakers are people from our own community that have over the years built multi-million-dollar businesses across all different types. We got an 18-year-old that had a 6-figure business in the 6th grade.
Sixth grade?
Yeah, Gabby Goodwin, Gabby Bowles. She just got awarded over $1 million in scholarships. Got a full ride to Vanderbilt. I mean, we got, travel people represented on that stage. My guy Jay Cameron taking over 2,000 people to Africa, Americans to Africa, to connect back with the continent.
2,000?
Yes, Sharice Jones, Sassy Jones Boutique, down in Richmond, Virginia, right? Her and her husband Keon built. I mean, it's an amazing lineup of real people.
And it's 2 days.
2 days, or actually 3 days.
3 days.
26, 27, 28, 3 days where we go deep dive. It's 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Ooh.
And then we spill out to the lobby and be there till you tap out.
Yeah.
But like, all the speakers are the community. So the person you saw talking about building this thing from 0 to 10 million to 20 million to 3 or 4, they in the lobby and you can walk up to them and ask a question. It's a different type of environment for people, again, that want to connect, is serious about growth. We would love for you to be a part of the community.
How else can we support you? What you got, Ronnie? Anything?
Just continue to just share our platforms, encourage entrepreneurs to come out. I think that's the biggest thing. You said, yes. How did we grow our business? It's really getting into communities.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with our marriage. I think what really set our marriage apart is we invested in our marriage. We invested through conferences and resources and being in communities, and that applied to our business as well. Like, although we're business coaches and we consult other businesses, we're never without coaches. We're never without investing in our business and going to conferences and doing all the things. And so, if you find yourself not getting ahead in life, just look back and see where you're investing your money. Like, are you investing in your marriage? If your marriage is not good, are you physically or putting money into investing in your marriage and learning something different and getting around some people and getting a different mindset. And so that's what our community does for people, just being around other entrepreneurs so you can go higher and stretch yourself, like Lamar stretched me.
And the free community as well. We do have a free community. We give away a ton of value for entrepreneurs growing at any stage. www.tspfamily.com will lead you there.
TSP Family.
Yeah.
Listen, man, thank y'all.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for just providing and showing up authentically as yourselves. I love it when people are rooted in who they are. They have no airs. They're not trying to put on. They don't, have this image. They haven't been prepped by their PR team to say, now show up like this and act like that. Y'all like, this is us. Like even when I said, how do y'all work together and just get along? So who said we get along? We just had like I love when people keep it real like that. So it's not like, well, because, we pray every time we wake up, we pray and we say, God, we want you to bless this day. And God does that. And we don't have arguments at all and everything is great. That's not y'all testimony. Mm-hmm. And I love that. And so, hey, listen, I just want to thank y'all again for all that y'all been able to create. I learned, honestly, sitting down here, I learned some blind spots that I have in deficiency. And I said, I haven't looked at this like a business. I have this huge platform, over 600-something thousand subscribers, and I haven't looked at it as a business. And that's the reason why I don't make the kind of money I should be making. I used to be like, well, I'm just giving and I'm helping people.
That stops today.
Okay, thank you. So like she cussed me out. Good Lord. That hurt, Ronnie. That hurt. Jesus. I'm sorry. I thought this was a safe space. I'm just sharing this.
You better watch it. She's going to kick the table over on her way out.
I'm trying to be like y'all when I grow up. Good Lord, I'm sorry. But that's what I was sitting out listening, because again, when you create something, you don't know what you're creating. I created saying, I just want to create a platform where I can heal and we can talk. And then I hear other people, I'm like, they got less of a platform than me and they're making all this money. And I was like, well, it doesn't matter because God is helping to heal people in this. And God be like, Lateris, you're not stewarding this well. You know what I'm saying? And then I go, well, I just don't know how to do that. And if I get focused on that, then I'm going to lose the focus of the main thing. And the main thing is this, and I enjoy this. But I've been praying for God to curate a team of people that can amplify this and monetize on the level that it should be monetized.
Can I challenge you in that area real quick?
Oh, talk to me.
I just want to, because I hear that a lot, especially from black people, right? So black people, we over-index, and when we start businesses where we want to serve, especially black women. Black women more than any other demographic or group, when they start a business, because like, hey, I want to serve this group, this community. So I talk to so many entrepreneurs, especially faith-based Christian entrepreneurs, and they say, serve, serve, serve. And again, I mentioned earlier, they say, I want to follow my passion. I want to, find my purpose. But it got to be the third P, passion, purpose, and profit. Because when you're doing something that you love but it don't make money, it's stressful. You're doing 11 different side hustles because you got to make ends meet. Yeah. When you're doing something that makes money but you don't love it, then you get burnt out. So when I talk about people, and I say, if you really want to have the impact that you say I don't know, Candace gonna be like, boy, I did not send you up there. but if you really want to have the impact, this is everybody, you want to have the impact you say you want to have, you need to make more money in the progress. Because more money in the right hands equals more impact. Yep. I had a woman that said, well, I want to help, single moms in the state of poverty around, personal finance and XYZ. And I said, how you going to do that? She said, well, I want to do a virtual summit. I said, well, what if we had more money? What would you do? She said, I wouldn't do virtual. I'd probably do it in person. I said, what if we had even more money and we just didn't do it in person in California where she was from? I said, what if we did it in person in Miami? What if we had more money instead of doing it in Miami, you could actually fly them out? I said, what if we had more money than that? Instead of flying them out, you could fly them and their kids out, where some of their kids may have never left the state or may have never left the neighborhood. I said, well, we have more money. Instead of bringing them to Miami, we could take them to the Caribbean or a whole different country. We get their passport, give them their first stamp. That's the impact. Now, for many things we do, we need the money to have the impact. But too many times we are not like really doing the thing that God wants us to do and going fully in the lane, because we're saying, well, it ain't about the money. I just want to serve people. But a lot of times the way we really want to serve people, there's a cost that comes into place.
Absolutely.
So again, I would
push back on me.
Yeah, I want to put it just a little
motivate
bit.
Me.
Just a little bit.
Level me up.
Right?
And I appreciate it.
It's people, I was thinking about like this, like it's people that need us that we need to reach. And no matter how big the platform is other people that will never come through the primary platform.
Yep.
So we gotta like expand it and take the resources to do it. So I feel like this is the first step, or you know, it could be step 3, 4, 5, whatever of many, but this is the jump off to really have the impact that you're supposed to have in the way you're supposed to have it.
I receive it. I thank you for that challenge. And I love, the Bible says iron sharpens iron. Ronnie almost cussed me out. And so I felt it all. I'm sorry.
Look, on your way out, she'll be like, you know what, though? But you've done good for yourself, though.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. I don't need you to be proud of me. And on that note, thank y'all so much. Give it up for the Tylers. Thank y'all so much, y'all.
Thank you.
Stay tuned to the end for a letter to my future wifey.
And writing these love letters to you.
Ladarian, thrusted suddenly into Child Protective Services in 2015. My nephew, black, a boy. The likelihood of being adopted outside of kinship, slim to none. Armani, 16 years old, black, a boy, with 5 years in the foster care system before I even knew his name. The likelihood of ever being adopted, yep, you guessed it, slim to none. While Ladarian and Armani were trying to survive and barely thrive in an overpopulated and underfunded foster care system, I was living my own life, doing well professionally. Having been a single father with a daughter who at that point was doing well in college, it was my time to live my life, right? Wrong. I felt unsettled, tireless, agitated. There are just too many of our black children stuck in ambiguity and in the limbo of the foster care system. In 2017, I legally adopted my nephew, Ladarian. Fast forward to 2019, I had no ties to this other young king, but I felt God instructed me to adopt him also, and I obeyed. Starting over with parenting should have been enough, right? Working with various foster care and adoption agencies to help bring awareness to the countless young black kings in the foster care system should have decreased my agitation, right? Joining the board of directors of Advantage Adoption, an organization that helps find permanent adoptive homes for children in foster care, should have led to some type of resolve, right? No, not at all. None of it felt like I had done enough. I now realize that every one of those experiences was laying the fundamental foundation for my life's mission, Kingdom Royale. Kingdom Royale will be a luxury, state-of-the-art home for foster boys. Our first location will be in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We will utilize the whole person approach that instills identity, empowers them to advocate for themselves, and enlightens them regarding new perspectives and limitless options that they thought were impossible. Though the young kings will attend the local public schools that are in proximity to Kingdom Royale, our at-home curriculum will broaden their worldview through participating in the arts, attending various cultural events, learning about and engaging in multifaceted discussions about current events and even relevant historical context, introducing them to gardening and landscaping and even caring for our animals on our farm and on-site stables. We just launched our Startup Capital campaign with the goal of raising $2.8 million. Now, why $2.8 million? Well, in 2017, I created a web series in which I performed random acts of kindness for targeting the homeless community. One of the most notable successes was that one of the videos went viral, garnering 28 million views. However, one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't raise a single dollar to help in implementing a more sustainable plan for the homeless community. So throughout the years, with much remorse, I reflected on not maximizing that moment. I knew if at that time, just 10% of the viewers donated $1, we would have raised at least $2.8 million that could have really established long-term support for the homeless community, or at least started a long-term initiative to do so. This is my do-over. This is our new beginning. Together, we can attack this at the root by specifically helping our homeless black boys who are already disproportionately represented in the American foster care system. I'm Lamar Whitfield. I've been nominated for 3 regional Emmys documenting my work with the homeless as well as my personal adoption journey. Despite those accolades, the greatest award for me is truly providing the infrastructure for a transformed life. Visit kingdomroyale.com for more details. Crown a king and make a donation today. All right, I got chastised. About monetizing my platform on a different level, which God has been convicting me about. Some things I want to do with Kingdom Royale. I know y'all just saw the video for Kingdom Royale, and currently we only have about about $250,000 in that account, when my goal is to have 1.25 million to buy the land back. So yeah, I feel very challenged, motivated. And so I'm going to lean into God and put systems in place so that we can really look at Dear Future Wifey as a business. And so thank y'all. Thank y'all to the Tylers. Well, here's my favorite part of the podcast where I speak to my future wifey. Dear Future Wifey, I don't just want to build a life with you. I want to build legacy. Let's take every ounce of wisdom we've acquired through trials and triumphs, every skill we've sharpened in silence, and every dream we've dared to whisper, and stack them brick by brick until we built something that outlives us both. Let's be wise architects of abundance, not just financially, but spiritually, emotionally, and generationally. I want our wealth to have depth, a wealth of peace, joy, insight, and impact. Yes, we'll grow businesses, invest strategically, and secure the bag, but we'll also be intentional about pouring into others, building bridges for the ones coming behind us. Your brilliance won't sit on a shelf collecting dust. My leadership won't be limited to ambition alone. Together, we'll be a force, vision paired with execution, faith partnered with strategy. We won't just make money, we'll multiply purpose. Your future hubby. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Remember, be lit, live intentionally and transparently, and don't stop loving. Make sure to subscribe to our Dear Future Wifey YouTube channel. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. We welcome your support. Simply share our podcast with your friends and family.